A lot of people were shocked the fact that I told them I cried and like they sensed that sense of like me being aware of my emotions and like I did grow up with my father and like how I seen like cheating as a regular thing.
It's the audacity for me. It's the audacity for Clay to say all the black men he knows are cheaters or they've cheated on their partners doesn't make sense. And why is Will Smith's name in this? What has Will done? What has Will done? He needs to leave Will alone. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, Season 6, Episode 8. Seriously, can Jimmy and Chelsea just break up? Because this, toxicity is getting on my last nerve. The fact that they will have these, very sensitive, very emotional, hyper emotional situations and then turn around and kiss each other and go, but I love you. And it's like, so are you abusing each other so that you can say I love you? Are you linking your love to the bad and toxic relationship that you have? I don't get it and I don't understand it. I wish they could take a page from Kenneth and Brittany. I know things don't work out with them, but I think they should learn to behave like mature adults. They should sit down together, have a conversation, and not let it get out of hand that, they're screaming and shouting. Because when Brittany and Kenneth return to their room, they sort of have a conversation about the topics that Kenneth discussed with AD and the concerns that were there. And I have to agree with Brittany. I have to. I'm a black woman, but I have to agree with Brittany that is this coming from a point of love or is this coming from a point of ill intent? In the sense that I said this in my last review. If this is how AD felt, she should have had a conversation with Brittany first, because she knew Brittany first before she knew Kenneth. She should have had a conversation with her, and she spent more times in the women's lounge with Brittany. Not per se face to face, but they were in the same environment. Once she knew, or once they left the pod and she realized that Kenneth was a black guy, she should have had a conversation with Brittany to say, how do you feel about dating a black guy? How do you feel about, raising children with a black guy? And then whatever her answer is, she would have gone and had the same conversation with Kenneth, because now it seems to be malicious in the sense that she's discussed it with Kenneth, but she hasn't discussed it with Brittany. And I said this before, that it's one thing if AD hadn't entertained Michael, a white man, then I would say, oh yes, she is worried for ABC. Nobody asked her and Michael whether she thought Michael would make a good dad to a black child. And so the idea that she would ask, I feel some type of way. I know people were saying, oh, as black people, we understand and we know what she means. Yes, we do, but still, is it coming from a place of love or is it coming from a place of malicious intent? That's my thing. It's cute to see all the couples do, various activities. You have Kenneth and Brittany, they go and she's diving with the camera. I think just that's something they wanted to do. You have Clay and AD. Well, he's saying he likes to kiss at a red light, and it's like, that's not a thing. That is not a thing. That is very dangerous because you're supposed to be paying attention when you're driving, but hey, it is what it is. You have Amy and Johnny, they are horseback riding and they're enjoying that. And then you have Chelsea and Jimmy, they've got over whatever mess was the night before, so now they're making out. And then you have Laura and Jeremy. They are having an issue because obviously Jeremy was upset about the fact that he was told a joke about AD, and then when he repeated it, Laura felt some type of way and she was upset with him and she abandoned him and left him out to dry. So he was upset with that and she didn't see anything wrong with it and she just told him off, so when they got back to the apartment, apparently he slept on the couch and she slept in bed. And then they're sort of trying to address their issues. I think Laura is one of those people that comes across as though they don't care or they don't give an ace, but I think she really does care, but she's trying to protect herself. So it's nice that she's sort of coupled up with someone who really likes her and thinks the world of her. So I think it's just a matter of her letting her guard down, and at least they were able to iron out their issues, and they've decided to move on. There was no screaming, there was no shouting. Chelsea could take a page from their book. Although I found it strange that they were trying to check who is the highest ranked couple, and it's like, people that always are after ranking are not serious about one another. Those that are serious about one another never have to rank each other compared to everybody else. It's interesting that even though Johnny and Amy are not the youngest participants in the experiment, they are the most childlike in their relationship. They are just happy-go-lucky. They're just happy to be there with the person that they're matched with. They're just happy that the person they are in a couple with really likes them. So they were talking, about what they love about one another, and then they went in on, we can't wait for our first fight. And it's like, that's not something to look forward to. Something to look forward to, because I think it will be very fiery. I can foresee them having a fight similar to sort of Jimmy and Chelsea, just because of how passionate they are. They come across as very passionate, so that will be interesting to watch. And then you have Kenneth and Brittany go on a date. They go, I think they went diving and then realized that they could have gone to see the dolphins, and they were regretting not choosing the dolphins because Kenneth has been with the dolphins and they really liked it. They got into talking about their love languages, and it turns out Brittany's love language is physical touch. And so Kenneth, I think, is trying to sort of toe a line between sort of being affectionate with his partner but not being disrespectful in regards to his job, because obviously he can, as I said before, there are things that he might do that might be frowned upon by the parents, in particular by the school board. So as a principal, he has to sort of toe a certain line. So I like the fact that they were able to sort of discuss and see how comfortable they were around each other and around each other's love languages, which I felt was very cute and very sweet. I like them, and I like their maturity when they're having conversations. It was a bit strange that the producers decided to put in the silence, and it's like, well, they are out at sea. You don't need to talk every single moment. Maybe they're just reflecting on life. They're just looking around them and enjoying the view. You don't need to make a big deal out of nothing. Please and thank you. Whoever edited this episode is very messy. That's what I'm going to say. They are messy with a capital M, because of the fact that they edited the silence between Brittany and Kenneth for so long, and then they go to, AD and Clay, and they edit, Clay's eating and then him cleaning up, and it's just like, that's a bit too much. That's a bit too much, because you didn't need to show all that. And the fact that there was silence as you were stacking up the dishes, it's just like, oh my God, these people, they're trying their best to be messy and to throw the viewers off. So you see AD and Clay have this conversation. I think Clay was right to bring it up. Yes, AD feels some type of way, but the thing is, you're constantly thinking, because this is a day that's pending, and so people will be thinking about decision day and whether they're going to say yes. They'll be looking at their partner and seeing what they are presenting to them, and whether this is something they're happy to take on board and say yes to on decision day, or on wedding day. So I don't get how AD was upset, and she said, oh, I don't know, you just switched up on me suddenly. And it's like, well, he can switch up on you suddenly just because it's a thought that's running in the back of his mind, and at times it comes to the front. It's not like the two of you aren't aware that there's a day looming. Wedding day is coming. You might have to say yes or no. So is he wrong to sort of question that? No, he's not. And I don't know why she felt the need to sort of put him in a spot. She knows he's not the right guy for her. So I don't get why she continues to be puzzled. I think the fact that he was being a groupie and sort of talking about her dancing and is been more focused on her body should tell her all she needs to know, that this man really doesn't see her in the light of wife. He see her as a trophy wife, and he might say yes to her, but chances are she's going to be his girlfriend for forever, until she decides she's had enough and it's time to move on. So you have all the couples meet up for a couples mixer. And it's interesting. AD should just have a couch and have everyone just pop in for their apology tour, because she had a conversation with Jimmy and he apologized about the stacked comment. He spoke about the fact that he and, Chelsea had issues when they got back, but he's fine. And it's like, oh, and they made up. And AD was like, I was happy that my bum was able to help you guys make up. And it's like, was he thinking of AD as he was making Chelsea happy? Make that make sense? I don't get it. Anyway, you have Jeremy. He came and he apologized to AD about the flicking comment, and he sincerely felt bad about it, and he slept on this couch, and he wanted to apologize. And AD said, "No, I'm good." What else can she say? So you have an interesting conversation between Lauren and Johnny, and we know Johnny's in a couple with Amy, and Lauren was more or less saying she's really likes them as a couple. She thinks they have high sexual attraction, and they must be banging boots. And he said, well, we're not really, because Amy's not on contraceptive. I didn't know that there were some women out there that are not on contraceptive. And it's like, what do they teach you in school then? What? Do you not have sex ed? What do they teach you in sex ed? And so it's interesting that this is something at 27 that he wasn't aware of, but at least he's now aware of it. And he's saying, I don't want to have a baby, an unplanned child. I want us to travel and enjoy each other first before we start having children. And it's like, there are other ways of contraception outside of, Amy having to take the pill, but then that's up to the two of them to go and investigate and come up with a plan of what to do, because they can't go forever without having sex. Anyway, so it was interesting that at his age, at least he's got a plan in place. He knows what he wants. He's got a plan in place in regards to what he wants to do with his partner, his wife, and then his children. And so it was nice to see them sort of brainstorming. And it wasn't like, Lauren was being malicious. She was actually giving him encouraging advice, which was very helpful. And so hopefully he takes it on board and is able to do something to help improve his relationship. So Jeremy, during his apology, had a conversation with AD about her connection with Clay and how they're doing. And he was able to give her clarity, because when they had lunch, AD was upset because she felt out of the blue he just, transformed into something else. So to have someone else say that's not him acting up or him being any sort of way, it's just how he processes information. At times he will sort of shut down, debug and then restart like a computer, but hey, it is what it is. But then he got himself, Jeremy, in trouble when he was talking to Amy, because he was talking about the fact that, he had a connection with both girls, Sarah Ann and Laura, but he decided to go with Laura because he knows Laura will hold him accountable. Laura, they sort of discussed conflict resolution. And I think it sounds like they sort of had an overall view of their connection and their relationship. Whereas with Sarah Ann, it seemed it was more about the fun, and there was nothing sort of substantial or nothing serious in order for him to make a decision on. So this is why it seems he made the decision to propose to Laura. But then for him to say, I want to see Sarah Ann, is like, why? You didn't propose to her. Yes, she's asked you for clarity. You should have given her clarity there. You don't need to give her clarity now. And it's like, is he having buyer's remorse? Is he regretting after the incident with the, AD situation? Is that why he wants to see Sarah Ann? I didn't get that. And then you had Kenneth sort of looking at AD and Clay and their connection. And it's like, for me, he's being sort of impressed by the vanishing. He doesn't see the toxicity that's that couple. I think he just likes the idea that it's black love, and it's not a healthy black love. You can't put it on the same line as Tiffany and Brett. So I hopefully this is not one of the reasons why he sort of ends up, ending his relationship over something that is very superficial. It seems all the couples were being very performative, because you had Chelsea shouting across the beach to Jimmy to say, I love you, I'm grateful for you. And then you had Jeremy coming over to kiss Lauren when she was sitting with the girls. And it's like, this is now becoming a competition. Everyone wants to be the number one couple. So they're going to do anything and everything in order to stand out from the rest. And I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know why we don't just ask Jimmy and Chelsea to break up. Please, we don't need to wait 4 weeks. They're never going to say yes. If they say yes, as I said, it will be a Jarrett and Diana situation and last only a year. Because they come back to their room and they're talking about the day and sort of asking each other what was your highlight and what was your lowest point. And Chelsea asks these questions, but she doesn't want to hear the response. She wants him to tell her what she wants to hear. She doesn't want to hear the truth. So when he tells her that, my worst part was the food. I was rushing. I didn't want anyone else to have them because they tasted amazing. And I ended up biting myself and I was bleeding. And she's asking him, is that the worst thing? And it's like, what do you think, Sherlock Holmes? The argument you had is the worst thing, but he doesn't want to get himself in more trouble. So he would rather talk about food. And so it's like, I don't get it about them. I really don't get it. I think they just need to call it quits. But for entertainment value, we're here to watch. And then you have Amy and Johnny. Amy and Johnny are sort of discussing their pet peeves. And Amy wouldn't sort of pick one in particular, and Johnny didn't want to pick. I think because they really care about each other and they don't want to cause each other pain. And they know that whatever they say, the viewers are going to latch onto it. So they would rather not say and maybe say it in private once the cameras are gone. They have a conversation with Amy sort of talking about the fact that in her previous relationships, she used to share with people a lot. But now she's learned not to share because her family's opinions have tended to sort of affect her relationships. And so she's worried about her dad, because she said this to Jeremy before, that, she was worried that her dad wasn't really for the experiment. So she's worried about how he'll feel knowing that she's engaged and she's about to get married. So she lets, Johnny know that if her dad doesn't approve or if he doesn't give his blessing, then she's going to say no on wedding day. And it's like, why would you say that? Why paint your dad in that bad light? Bliss's dad has already taken a lot of flack from people because people have viewed him differently. I don't think it's a good idea for you to paint your dad in that light, because then you have the viewers going after your dad. It's interesting to see what people deal with when they move into their new places, because you have Lauren and Jeremy sort of discussing their pet peeves and what they won't tolerate in regards, or what they would want their partner to avoid doing. And so it was strange that Lauren had such a long and in-depth list like that. I think it's a put of an ick. It can put someone off. She didn't seem to notice that, but you could see at one point that Jeremy was starting to zone out and he was starting to tune out. He's already said he wants to see Sarah Ann, so I don't think this is a good idea. And sadly, I think this is the beginning of the end for Kenneth and Brittany, because they come in and Kenneth picks up his phone. He's a principal. He's going to have a lot of emails to catch up with. Even if he left someone in charge, he will still need to make certain decisions. So I get it. Even Brittany was saying that on her timeline on Instagram, she mentioned that, his emails are not just someone trolling social media and stuff. It's him putting out fires, him getting stuff ready, him problem solving, him setting, so I think that sort of distracted him. Whether he got a bad email from someone that sort of set him off, and this is why he needed a moment to go downstairs and sort of distress away from her. But the way the editing made it seem like he was just on social media. He was on TikTok or, Instagram or Twitter or Threads or whatever, and just trolling through, when in actual fact he was dealing with his work stuff, according to the comment that Brittany made on her status. And so it's sad to see that sort of unraveling of them. I wish it was explained more, and I wish the producers didn't always aim to make someone the fall guy when people fall apart. I am going to need AD after Love is Blind to make a way straight to a therapist, because I don't understand how she can put up with what this man is saying. I don't know how she can tolerate what this man is saying, because he's telling her that, I have never seen a black man that's faithful. Every black man that I know cheats. My dad used to take me to the people that he used to cheat with, all my family members, all the black men that I know, even with the Will Smith. And it's like, what has Will Smith done? Leave him alone. What has he done? Why need to drop him in your mess? Discuss your issue and leave him alone. I'm a Will Smith stan, so I don't like it when people bring him into their mess. Leave that man alone. Leave him alone. You can't put him as your role model. Why do people like to idolize people they don't know? Why? Set your own path and run with it. And so for him to try and use that as an excuse as to why, he doesn't believe that one man can be with one woman, it's like, bro, sit down somewhere. We ain't here for that. You need to sit down and you need to, try a bit harder, because this ain't it. So for Ada to sit there and listen to that, I don't know why she didn't bring up examples of people that she knows that have been with their wives and there's never been any rumors of them cheating. People like LL Cool J, people like what's his name, Ice Cube. He's been with his wife for years and years and years. So the idea that he wants to talk about people that he doesn't know instead of talking about his dad and his family members doesn't make sense, because even your dad and your family members, you only know what you saw. You don't know them, what they do in their own spare time.